Good morning, and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection. At this time, we ask that you silence all electronic devices, and at no time is anyone to approach the dais. I repeat, no one is to approach the dais. If you would like to sign up for in-person testimony or have any other questions throughout the hearing, please see one of the Sergeant at Arms. Chair Manning, we are ready to begin.
Good morning. My name is Julie Menon. I'm chair of the Council Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection, and I just want to welcome everyone to today's hearing on introduction numbers 495, 1016, 1231, 1290, 1308, and 1311. I'll be recognizing my fellow council members as they arrive. The bills we're hearing today touch on a variety of consumer protection and business licensing issues. Introduction number 495, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, would limit increases of occupancy fees for self-storage units to 2% per year and restrict storage facilities from terminating an occupancy agreement for any reason other than non-payment of required fees. Introduction number 1016, sponsored by Councilmember Botcher, would require dealers in firearms, rifles, and shotguns to display a warning sign where the firearms, rifles, or shotguns are displayed or where they are transferred to the purchaser. Introduction number 1231, sponsored by Councilmember Banks, would require tax preparers to provide customers with statements that itemize all of the various charges. Introduction number 1290, sponsored by myself, would establish a licensing requirement for self-storage warehouses. Introduction number 1308, also sponsored by myself, would reform many of the city's business licensing laws by eliminating fees for duplicate licenses, eliminating bond requirement for certain business license types, exempting secondhand clothing stores from licensing requirements, shifting the locksmith licensing requirement from individuals to businesses, combining the electronic stores and electronic store service dealer license, allowing licensed e-cigarette dealers to relocate within their community districts, amongst other reforms. And then finally, introduction number 1311, also sponsored by myself, would prohibit food establishments from using a dynamic pricing model that increases the price of any menu item based on real-time demand. I look forward to hearing from the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, as well as relevant stakeholders who are here today. And now I want to turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Banks, to make a statement on his bill.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning to everyone who's in the room. Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to be here today to speak on behalf of Intro 1231, which would require tax preparers to provide customers with an itemized statement of charges. This would include fees for state and federal tax returns, software, filing, and any charges related to refund anticipation loans or checks. Tax preparers would be required to provide the statement in both physical and electronic forms. This bill was inspired by a constituent complaint, a tax preparer who contacted my office after a client refused to pay a fee of about $150. What should have been a straightforward transaction turned into a frustrating ordeal for the business owner who had to jump through unnecessary hoops just to get paid, and the customer who honestly just wanted to know what they were paying for. The thought behind this is if customers had a clear itemized breakdown of charges, something they could understand and reference to, it could prevent misunderstandings and make things easier for everyone involved. This is a straightforward, common sense bill, and that's the goal of Intro 1231, to offer transparency and protection for both the consumers and the tax preparers. I want to thank my staff, the Ledge Department, for helping draft this bill. And Madam Speaker, thank you so much for your committee for hearing this bill.
Thank you so much to Councilmember Banks. I fully support that bill. I think it's great, and it really leads to increased transparency. So we will now go to testimony from the administration. We have with us today Carlos Ortiz, the Deputy Commissioner for External Affairs for DCWP, Andrew Schwenk, Associate General Counsel for DCWP. So I'm now going to turn it over to Committee Counsel to administer the affirmation.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee and to respond honestly to council member questions?
I do. Good morning, Chair Menon, Councilmember Banks, and members of the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection. My name is Carlos Ortiz, and I'm Deputy Commissioner for External Affairs at the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. Today, I am joined by our Associate General Counsel, Andrew Schwenk. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before the committee today on these bills regarding our consumer protection work. DCWP is a key resource for all New Yorkers, providing fundamental consumer and worker protections and financial empowerment programming across the 5 boroughs. We are dedicated to ensuring that consumers who have been exploited or deceived have recourse, that workers have a passionate defender of their rights, and that all New Yorkers have the support they need to improve their financial health. These protections and resources are available to all New Yorkers regardless of immigration status. In the past 3 years under Commissioner Mayuga's tenure, we have delivered more than $1.3 billion back to New Yorkers through our protections, policies, and programming. Since our landmark consumer protection law was enacted in 1969, we have been the nation's leading municipal consumer protection agency. For nearly 60 years, we have consistently leveraged our authority to protect New Yorkers from deceptive business practices, securing financial restitution for consumers whose rights have been violated by bad actors in the marketplace. In the last few years, our efforts have played a role in the recovery of about $28 million in financial restitution, trust fund disbursements, and debt relief for consumers. A key component of protecting New Yorkers is supporting and facilitating compliance among businesses with the laws that we enforce through education and other key services. DCWP's licensure plays a critical role in safeguarding our consumers and maintaining industry standards across more than 45,000 businesses in 40 license categories. Businesses across the 5 boroughs have access to our educational materials, as well as direct outreach from our team. In the last several years, we have hosted nearly 400 business engagement and outreach events, reaching more than 30,000 business owners. Our Visiting Inspector program provides new brick-and-mortar businesses that we regulate the opportunity to receive an educational visit from one of our inspectors. And we look forward to working with the Council to streamline compliance, reduce costs, and highlight our balanced approach to support small businesses while still providing robust consumer protections for all New Yorkers. Turning to today's legislation, Instruction 1290 would require licensing of self-storage warehouses. We strongly support the Council's efforts to expand our licensing to a key sector of the storage industry from which we frequently receive consumer complaints. Instruction 495 would limit increases of occupancy fees for self-storage facilities by no more than an increase of 2% per year. In addition, self-storage facilities would not be permitted to terminate occupancies for any reason other than non-payment of fees. As drafted, this legislation may unintentionally discourage self-storage companies from renewing occupancy agreements with existing customers. We recommend a required rate disclosure to be provided to consumers ahead of time in the event of an increase, similar to what exists in our parking lot and garage category, where rate increases must be communicated to consumers and to the agency at least 60 days in advance of implementation. Strong pricing disclosures would work well with the expanding licensing requirements proposed in Instruction 1290. Instruction 1231 will require tax preparers to provide customers with an itemized statement of charges, which would have to be provided in both a physical and electronic format. We support this legislation, which will increase transparency in the paid tax preparer industry and help protect customers and consumers, particularly lower-income New Yorkers, as we look ahead to the next tax season. Instruction 1311 would prohibit food establishments from using a dynamic pricing model that increases the price of any menu item based on real-time demand. We support the intent of the bill. Dynamic pricing is a relatively new consumer protection issue, particularly for brick-and-mortar businesses like restaurants. We welcome the opportunity to work with the Council and stakeholders to better understand the scope and impact of this practice on New Yorkers and to refine the legislation accordingly. Instruction 1308 would reform many of the city's business licensing laws. We strongly support this bill as a common-sense reform that will benefit many business categories and deliver meaningful savings for small businesses. The legislation would streamline onerous requirements and is another step to provide a more efficient system for all New Yorkers. We would like to recommend for the legislative record and redlining process that additional measures be added within the framework of the legislation to reduce operational hurdles for businesses. For example, this bill eliminates onerous fingerprinting requirements for certain license categories. We believe that requirement should also be removed for the merged electronic store category. Ultimately, we believe that the fingerprinting requirement is not only burdensome, but it also hinders prospective small businesses from being able to participate in the market, and it does not create greater protection for consumers. We think that the bond requirement should be removed for all secondhand dealers, especially where it is duplicative of state requirements. We agree with the council that licenses in good standing, compliant with local laws and rules, should be able to move locations within a community district. Currently, the bill permits this for electronic cigarette retailers. We believe this should also be allowed for tobacco retailers. We also recommend an online sales exemption for secondhand dealer licensees and eliminating outdated manufacturer and qualifications provisions in our locksmiths category. Lastly, while the current requirement to audit process servers is overly burdensome on these businesses, we believe we should retain discretion to be able to conduct an audit when necessary. Finally, Instruction 1016 would require dealers in firearms, rifles, and shotguns to display a warning sign where the firearms, rifles, or shotguns are displayed or where they are transferred to the purchaser. The administration has submitted written testimony for this bill, and we defer to our colleagues at the Health Department and NYPD on this legislation. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before your committee on our essential work uplifting New Yorkers and today's legislation. We look forward to working with you all to further our efforts to protect New Yorkers in the marketplace, and I welcome any questions you may have for further discussion.
Great, thank you very much. So I'm just going to dive right into some of the bills because I have a number of questions, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Banks, for his questions. I want to start with Intro 1290. So in relation to self-storage warehouses, can you talk about how many complaints about self-storage warehouses the agency is receiving annually, and what is the nature of these complaints?
I think in general, with respect to storage warehouses, the overall category, we've received about 340 complaints since 2022, probably consistently across each year. The complaints range from topics such as increase in rates or deceptive practices, but realistically, most of those complaints, or many of those complaints, tend to be in the self-storage sector of the industry, which is currently has that loophole in licensing that we want to make sure we work with the council on
Yes.
closing.
Right.
I would just add, Councilmember, and in addition to what Carlos had identified, many of those complaints are about property damage, consumers' access to their property in the storage unit itself, and then the conditions of goods and the storage unit itself.
Great.
That's another themes we see in there.
Okay. And why are self-storage warehouses currently exempt? I know you say it's a loophole, but was there any rationale behind that loophole?
It's not our understanding there was a rationale. It probably dates back to a time when self-storage warehouses were not a typical business practice. And definitionally, it's a loophole now that we'd like to close.
Okay. And do you think limiting increases of self-storage fees to 2% annually is appropriate?
Well, with respect to the limits on fee increases, I do think we are concerned with unintended consequences. Limiting the business's ability to increase fees could result in them perhaps not offering renewed contracts to consumers. So our thoughts are, particularly in balance with the expanded licensing, that we could instead provide consumers with disclosure much more ahead of time of any prospective rate increases. And that way the consumer has an option, has a choice, has the information they need to make a decision of whether or not they want to renew their contract.
Do you believe there are other reasons other than non-payment of fees that should warrant a self-storage facility to terminate an occupancy agreement?
Thank you, Councilmember, for the question. Yeah, I think that there could be. I think protecting consumer property in storage units is important, and I think that there could be a risk of misuse by other consumers of that space,
Yeah.
And that's unrelated to fee payments.
Okay.
And so we are concerned about that and cutting off the ability of a storage unit to be able to manage safety and access for other consumers.
And how would DCWP, getting back to the fee increases, how would you enforce a limitation on fee increases for self-storage warehouses?
I think ultimately a limit on fee increases, I think, is not our preferred model for how we want to address pricing in the industry. Our preferred model would be focusing on disclosures that need to be made to the customers and to the agency. If a business does not submit those disclosures, that is grounds for us to investigate, to issue summonses to the business, for a consumer to bring forward a complaint. I think that's we would fold that into our typical processes.
Okay, and I'm going to pause for a minute because I've been joined by my colleague, Councilmember Botcher, and I'd like to turn it over to him for a statement on his bill.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Menon, Chair Menon. Really appreciate your leadership and the opportunity today to have a hearing on Introduction 1016, which would require firearm dealers in New York City to post on the wall written warnings about the public health risks of having a gun in the home, as well as a graphic warning of the public health risks of having a gun in the home. I can't think of a deadlier consumer product that requires no warning at the point of purchase. So today, our legislation is requiring that warning and applying a graphic warning to it as well, drawing from public health research that shows that a graphic attached to a public health warning is effective, that it breaks through. So the Department of Health, if our legislation passes, will develop that graphic, and it could be something like a child reaching into a drawer for a handgun next to a bedstand. If that breaks through to one person who's in a gun store about to buy a handgun for their home, then this legislation would be worth it. And think about all the different consumer products that have warnings at the time of purchase: toys, motorized vehicles, food products, pharmaceuticals. Yet firearms isn't on that list. So we're changing that today, and this is the first time in the United States that legislation is being proposed that will require a graphic on the wall. I want to thank Everytown for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action and Giffords and all the organizations that are part of this effort. And I'm hoping that this will inspire similar legislation around the country, because this will save lives. 41 million people dead, 41,000 people dead from gun violence last year alone. The number one cause of death from children, surpassing vehicular accidents. This is not who we are as Americans. We could do so much better. So let's pass this legislation and let's save lives.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Botcher, and I really want to thank you for this legislation. This is incredibly common sense and will save lives. And as Councilmember Botcher said, from a consumer perspective, you go into a store, if you're a parent and you're buying a toy for your child, there is a warning that says small parts, choking hazard for children under 3. There are warnings on alcohol, there are warnings on cigarettes, or warnings on, as you point, pharmaceuticals, all sorts of products, and yet guns, no warnings on this. And so I so support this, and I really want to thank you for introducing this incredibly common sense piece of legislation. Okay, so we're going to continue, and then I'm going to continue with my questions, and then I'll pass it over to my colleague, Councilmember Botcher, for his questions. So getting back to the legislation at hand, we're now going to move to Intro 1308, which is in relation to reforming certain business licensing requirements. So do you have any concerns about removing the licensing requirements for secondhand clothing dealers?
Thank you for the question, Chair. I think for us, removing the secondhand dealer requirement for clothing stores, I think is a common sense approach to what we want to do in reducing burdens for businesses. You know, I think there's the secondhand dealer license. I think we can focus that on certain products, key record keeping that has to be there for jewelry, for example. Mm-hmm. But in the case of clothing, I think we would be in agreement with the council that should be removed.
And how many secondhand clothing dealers are currently licensed by DCWP?
We don't have the clothing dealer category
Okay.
broken out in that type of way.
Okay. Any concerns about removing the licensing requirements for distributors that deliver to general vendors?
I don't believe that we have any concerns with that. We don't think that it provides that license category has historically provided significant consumer protections or consumer protections at all. So I think it's a type of category that I think at this day and age has not become somewhat outdated.
And what about any concerns about removing the bonding and audit requirements for process servers?
In terms of the audit requirements, because I'll speak to that and then I can toss it over to my colleague Andrew Schwenk. The process server audit, I think it's something that was mandated, I think, 2017, 2018. I think it really resulted in process servers being captured with a lot of ministerial errors that, because of the penalties that were in that category, ended up being very, very burdensome for them. So our thoughts is that the process server audit is not really capturing sewer service, which was the intent of that original bill. And we can maintain the discretion to audit when we need to, but ultimately, we don't want to be putting people out of businesses just because of heavy fines that don't fit the violation,
Right.
so to speak, right? And then let me pass over to my colleague Andrew.
Yeah, just to follow up on the process server audit requirement, I think we want to be in a place where we have the ability and resources to target what we identify as repeat offenders. If we notice a pattern in complaints, have the ability to target audits at those individual licensees. And I think getting rid of the sort of mandatory audit requirement would allow us to do so, but putting back in language that used to be there prior to the mandatory audit that would allow us discretionary authority to conduct those audits.
And any concerns about removing bonding requirements for storage warehouses or industrial laundries?
Yeah, no, I don't think we have concerns there, Chair Menon. I think that the license requirements for those industries are providing good protections. That gives us the ability to go after penalties collections against our licensees. We have the ability to suspend licenses if penalties aren't paid. And so in a lot of cases, that makes the bond a little bit unnecessary and redundant, and of course is a cost to the business. And that's, of course, why we want to target some of these repeals of bond requirements. It really saves a lot for those business communities, particularly in the aggregate, but even for individual small businesses, getting rid of that cost.
I think just to reinforce that as well, I think a legacy item of some of these categories is that they had a bond requirement in there. But ultimately, from our perspective, we can use license verification as the compliance stick, so to speak. And ultimately, the bond requirements end up becoming more of a payment that goes to the bond industry rather than protecting consumers.
Understood. Any consumer protection implications about merging the electronic store and the electronic or home appliance service dealer licenses?
No, I don't think we do have concerns there, Chairman, and I think that the bill that you've introduced here, it does a really nice job of merging those categories. And just to speak to I think the really beneficial effect there. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but from some past reviews we've done, we think upwards of 75% of those categories hold both licenses. So we're talking about a community of businesses that's engaging in conduct for which they need 2 licenses right now. And that's wasteful. It's wasteful for the city, and it's wasteful for those business communities. And so I think that tailored approach where we have a single license cuts down on the costs associated, but also continues the protections that are required for each of those industries within that overall category is the best approach here.
And just so we have it on the record, I know you referred to this in your testimony, but do you support allowing licensed e-cigarette dealers to relocate within a community district so long as they give the agency 20 days notice?
I think in general, in concept, we do support that. In fact, we would also support that for our tobacco retail dealers as well. I think ultimately, those laws also date back from the previous administration, and I think we've seen through our experience is that some businesses, because the license is fixed to the premise, might lose that license because their rent has gone up, something has happened to the building, and ultimately we don't want that to be that outcome to be unfair or overly draconian. I don't know if Andy, if you want to speak to like the number of days question, because that's.
Yeah, I would just add into that. I think allowing for businesses to move within a community district really does also maintain the benefits of the caps that are currently in place. You know, we are seeing the attrition of the number of overall dealers coming down to the cap levels in many districts, and so adding in a simple provision to allow relocation in the event that a business is pushed out due to rent increases or a building being
Yeah.
developed
Yeah.
is common sense to maintain the ideas behind the cap while also allowing small businesses to, you know, keep their license when they're in good standing and when they're
Okay.
following the laws.
I mean, ultimately, I think, you know, we want our compliant businesses to be able to operate, and we don't want, unfortunately, at times now we're in a circumstance where a businesses that's following the laws loses their license, and now almost we're pushing them into an unlicensed activity situation. So I
Okay.
think this is a great addition to the bill that
Okay.
you had.
I also want to mention we've been joined by Councilmember Abreu, who is on remotely on Zoom. Moving to dynamic pricing, so that my bill to prohibit pricing increase based on real-time demand at food services establishments. To your knowledge, are there businesses engaging in this practice right now? And if so, could you try to quantify how many businesses you feel are engaging in this?
I don't believe we have that to our knowledge that there are businesses that have been engaging this in large numbers or in the city. You know, I've spoken recently with for example, restaurant advocates, and they've mentioned this is not a practice that has come up. That said, I think we want to be vigilant as well, and we want to make sure that we are keeping an eye out for anything that could have potential consumer harm, which is why I think, you know, being proactive in this way and why we support the intent of this bill. We'd like to work with the council in making sure that that pricing protections are in place always for consumers.
And how, in effect, would you implement this type of bill? How would you enforce any kind of surge pricing?
I think it's something we still need to, want to see where the bill lands in its final form. Particularly for us, this hearing is a good format for us to learn from stakeholders about how they're utilizing dynamic pricing, whether that's the business side or whether it's the consumer experience. I mean, ultimately, a change like this, I think it would require certain operational changes for sure that we want to talk with the council too about those cost implications.
Okay. Given that we do want to hear from stakeholders, seeing no questions from colleagues, I am now going to then close this portion of the hearing, and thank you so much for testifying today. We really look forward to working with you on these various bills.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you very much for your
so
bills
much.
too.
Thank you. Okay, so we are now going to open up the public comment period for testimony. I want to remind members of the public that this is a formal government proceeding and that a quorum should be observed at all times. As such, members of the public need to remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Furthermore, members of the public may not present audio or visual recordings as testimony, but they may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant at Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's hearing topic. Just to remind everyone, today's hearing topic is on introductions 495, 1016, 1231, 1290, 1308, and 1311. If you have a written statement or additional written testimony that you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant at Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. So I'm now going to call the first panel to come up. Zafar Ahmed, James Grace, Kevin Mestrich. If you could please come up. Thank you. Okay, please begin. You just press the red button. So the first speaker is Zafar Ahmed. If you could please begin. Thank you.
Good afternoon and thank you. Good morning and thank you so much, Honorable Chairman and Member of Council and audience. I really grateful to providing this opportunity. This is my first experience, so please.
Oh, we welcome you.
forgive
Thank
me.
you.
I'm so grateful to you to provide this opportunity for me to speak on this bill introduced today, 1308. My name is Zafar Ahmed, and I am 68-year-old small business owner on the Upper East Side. For the past 28 years, I have proudly operated International News and Magazine Incorporated at 302 East 86th Street, a corner store and community hub that has served generations of the New Yorkers with newspapers, magazines, everyday essentials, and legally licensed tobacco, cigarettes, and electronic cigarette products. I have kept my door open through snowstorms, blackouts, during Second Avenue subway construction, and even the pandemic. Every single day I have shown up because I believe in this neighborhood and the people, New Yorkers, who make it special. However, after nearly 3 decades of service, I am being forced to close, not because of anything I did wrong, but because my building has been sold by a developer who plans to demolish it to build a luxury condo tower. I have until June 30, 2025 to vacate the space I have served over community from for decades.
Okay, just because every speaker is allowed 2 minutes under the rules, if you could please provide your written testimony
Yes.
to the Sergeant at Arms when we're done, and we will take that.
Yes, I do that.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Okay, our next speaker.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today. My name is Pat Grace, Program Manager at Getting Out, Staying Out, a reentry and anti-violence program that has served more than 15,000 people over 2 decades. At GOSO, we work directly with 16 to 24-year-old young people who are incarcerated in Rikers Island and juvenile facilities, people in the community who have been directly impacted by the criminal justice system, and those who are at risk. I work with GOSO's Cure Violence program, Stand Against Violence East Harlem, SAVE. In 2024, we did 269 violent interruptions and 102 mediations, held 21 events, and connected 41 participants to GOSO supported services. This work, combined with GOSO community-based education, mental health, job readiness, and paid internship programs, has reduced gun violence and led to better outcomes for young people we serve. While gun violence is still a serious problem in our community, we are proud to say that the area in East Harlem that we serve has seen gun violence drop to its lowest level since 2019. A key part of anti-violence work is education to our community about the dangers of gun violence. Public service messages like the ones in this legislation, which warns against the dangers of gun violence, will bolster these effects. It's a fact that owning guns can have a negative consequence on owning a firearm in a home, increases the chance of serious harm and even death. It's important that guns, just like potentially dangerous items available for sales, come with a warning. Treating gun violence like a public health epidemic is key to what we do, and that includes spreading positive norms and changing negative behaviors. That effort must be supported by public education efforts like the one proposed in this legislation. We support Intro 1016 and requiring consumer warnings for guns where they are available for sale.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no, please. You don't, sir, do you, you're not testifying? No. Oh, okay. Any questions for the panel? No.
Thank you for your advocacy and for all the work that you do.
I can't hear.
Okay, great. Thank you so much to this panel. We really appreciate your testimony today. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call the next panel, who is James Coakley, Max Bookman.
Hi, my name is James Coakley. I'm here today on behalf of the New York State Self-Storage Association. We have provided written testimony that gives some facts and figures about our industry as a whole. Due to the time constraints, I think we'll get into some of the key points. In particular, I certainly need to have a conversation with the gentlemen prior that were here. I think they're not taking into several significant procedural requirements of a self-storage operator when making changes to their agreement. So we'll have to have a conversation. But in particular, to intro 1290, this bill seems to be contradicting certain points in the state statute and seem to be adding other points that are duplicative with the state statute. This would be challenging for state operators to both interpret and then ultimately comply with. The bill is unclear in language about the ability to store household goods and not business materials. We have several small business customers who use our facilities to store files, marketing materials, or other inventory items for their primary businesses. Most self-storage operators themselves would be considered small business owners, so I think there's some direct conflict there. Self-storage facilities do not accept goods. Our business model is based on a self-service storage whereby the customer puts their property in the storage space. There's lack of clarity as to who gets the license, each facility or the operator. There are numerous approvals that we have to get to, including C of O's for our buildings, fire department approvals, amongst other agencies. Regarding insurance, self-storage operators should not be required to offer insurance. We think this would remove certain consumer choices and could infringe ultimately on some privacy issues. It should be the operator's choice to offer that, as it is a business decision. There are a number of customers who might decide to use a renter's policy.
Okay, I'm just
for
going to
storage.
ask if you could provide your written statement to the Sergeant at Arms.
I did. So that was on 1290. Would I get another 2 minutes on?
No, I'm sorry, our
well,
rules are
right.
every speaker
Okay.
gets 2 minutes.
Okay, I
But
appreciate
yeah,
it.
but please submit the written testimony, we
have.
will definitely look at it.
Yeah.
Thank you so
No, I
much.
appreciate the attention today. I really do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Menon, Councilmember Botcher. I'm speaking on 1308. My name is Max Bookman. I'm an attorney. I represent the New York City Newsstand Operators Association, which represents over 300 DCA licensed sidewalk newsstands in our city. I also, in my private law practice, represent several hundred newsstands and convenience stores, including Zafar Ahmed's store. I didn't know he was going to be here today. I've represented him in various items over the past 10 years. Sidewalk newsstands and convenience stores and bodegas are the backbones of our neighborhoods, of our communities. They need to be treated with dignity and respect, and we have to recognize that when their electronic cigarette or tobacco retail dealer licenses are jeopardized. It is a big problem for the business. It jeopardizes the business and its employees and its ability to stay in the neighborhood. Just like with alcohol and cannabis, tobacco is a legal product that comes with its dangers, but it needs to be regulated appropriately and have places where it could be legally sold. Relocation of a tobacco or e-cig license within a community district is a good reform, but for it to be effective, there needs to be 2 changes to the bill. Number one, as the administration agreed, the tobacco license also needs to be part of this bill. Most of these businesses have 2 DCA licenses, a tobacco license and an e-cig license. Saying that you could move the e-cig license but not the tobacco license is like telling someone to cross the street with one of their feet cemented to the ground. You can't do it. You need both licenses to be able to move. Second is the bill needs to be made clear, and I was concerned by the administration's testimony on this, that good standing review should not be allowed for this type of change. good standing review came from the 2017 law under the de Blasio administration that said when a business is sold, if the license is not in good standing, if there's prior violations, then it can't, the tobacco license can't go along with it. But this is not a situation where a business is being sold. This is a business just moving. And if a business has a violation from like 3 years ago, they should still be allowed to move. Especially if they've settled that violation with DCA, shown that they fired the employee that was responsible for it, they should be allowed to move as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for the testimony today. We're now going to call the next panel. Okay. Laura House, David Pacino, Aya Sophocleous.
Oh. Good to see you, man. Small world.
Okay. Thank you. Please begin.
Hello, my name is Laura House, and I am here representing Moms Demand Action and Everytown for Gun Safety. Chair Menon, I strongly applaud Councilmember Bottcher's ordinance to enhance warning signs inside of federally licensed firearm dealers in New York. As you both know, our city and state have passed some of the strongest gun safety laws and has the 4th lowest rate of gun deaths in the country. But gun violence continues to impact New Yorkers. As Councilmember Bottcher so clearly laid out, enhanced warning signs like these visual images can save lives. And we urge all of our members of City Council to support this ordinance so that it can become law in New York City. The research shows that access to firearms in the home significantly increases the risk of suicide, death during domestic violence disputes, and unintentional deaths, shootings by children, and people must be made aware of these risks when considering purchasing firearms. Gun violence prevention requires the involvement of all of us, survivors like myself, advocates, law enforcement, and state and local lawmakers. This ordinance will empower the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to study the efficacy of visual warning signs, and if they find that they'd be impactful, to design and require the display of signs that will be most effective at educating New Yorkers about those risks and how to mitigate them. This is another step toward protecting our loved ones from gun violence, and we hope that it will become law swiftly to start saving lives. Thank you for your commitment to the prevention of gun violence prevention for all New Yorkers.
Thank you very much for your advocacy. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair Menon and members of the committee. My name is David Pacino. I'm the legal director of Giffords Law Center, which is the gun violence prevention organization founded and led by former Congresswoman and gun violence survivor Gabby Giffords. I live in New York City. I make my home here. I'm raising my children here, but I work across the country, and so I have the opportunity to speak to folks in different communities with different perspectives, folks who own guns, folks who don't own guns. And I think there's a lot of common ground between those communities that we don't focus on enough. And one of those things is that everybody wants their children to be safe. And a key piece of keeping your children safe, whether you're in a gun-owning household or not in a gun-owning household, is knowing that your children will not get access to a firearm. I think everybody agrees on this, but folks just don't know. It's not present in mind. People might buy a gun and not have that present in mind. If it's your first firearm, you might not know how to secure it safely. With everything else going on in your life, you might not be thinking about that as a top priority. But it has to be a top priority because safety has to be a top priority. And so for the benefit of all of our children, we need to have that information break through to all folks. And I think the approach that is proposed in this legislation is incredibly exciting, not just for the city, but for the country as a whole, because it provides a path for people to get that information, to break through, and to make sure the message is clear to everyone. Because what I also know is that that message becomes clear after a tragedy, and what we need to do is make sure it's clear beforehand. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Ia Sophocleous, and I'm a rising junior at Stuyvesant High School. I'm a volunteer with Students Demand Action and a leader of its New York City chapter. I'm here today in support of Intro 1016, which expands on an existing state law to require visual signs in addition to written warnings about the risks of firearms. Returning to school after the pandemic, I was alarmed by the rise in shootings across the country, including one in a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. Threats of violence at my own school, as well as stories of students at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, inspired me to take action to end gun violence. With an estimated 393 million firearms owned by civilians in the United States, it is crucial that gun owners understand the risks associated with firearm purchase. Access to a gun triples the risk of death by suicide and doubles the risk of death by homicide. When both guns and ammunition are locked, the risk of unintentional gun injury and self-inflicted gun injury among children greatly decreases. The addition of visual signs aims to enhance the effect of existing written signs in reducing public health risks associated with firearm access. Visual warning signs informing the public about health risks associated with cigarettes, vapes, and alcohol are already posted in the places you can buy them. These signs spread awareness about the risks of smoking and drinking, and implementing signage for firearm risks could have similar impacts. By using signage to illustrate the increased risk of firearm suicide, death during domestic violence, and unintentional shootings by children associated with firearm ownership, we can hopefully reduce instances of gun-related death in our state by educating gun owners. New York is a national leader in gun safety, and in 2021 became the first state to enact a law that allows gun violence survivors to file suit against gun manufacturers and dealers. These efforts have contributed to New York's rank as the state with the third lowest rate of gun violence. However, our communities still face issues of gun violence. Just this past year, a family friend of mine was held at gunpoint while walking her dog in her neighborhood. We have made great progress, but there is more work to do to ensure we all feel safe in our schools, supermarkets, parks, and neighborhoods. I hope that New York can once again lead the way in ending gun violence by being the first to implement this bill, and I urge the committee to pass Intro 1016 to increase awareness about the risks of gun ownership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you very much for taking time out of your school day to be here. We really appreciate your advocacy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? And I want to mention we've also been joined by Majority Leader Farias. Councilmember Batcher.
Just want to thank you for your advocacy, and after we pass this legislation, and I do believe that we will, I'd love to work with your organizations to inform your affiliates around the country about it, because I really believe that this is something that could be passed by municipalities and states all across the country, and then hopefully one day on a federal level. But I'd love to work with your organizations on that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. That is our last in-person panel, so I'm now going to turn it over to the panel that is on Zoom. We have James Allen and Christopher Leon Johnson. And then at the end, I will go through any names that, just making sure we didn't miss anyone. Right. Okay. Okay, James Allen, are you there?
You may begin.
I am. Thank you. Good morning, Chair Menon and members of the committee. On behalf of Savers Value Village, I regret not being able to join you in person, but I appreciate the chance to join you virtually. And again, my name is James Allen. I'm Director of Government Affairs and Sustainability at Savers Value Village. I'm here to testify on behalf of Intro number 1308. To share a few quick thoughts with you here verbally, we have submitted more detailed written testimony for the committee's consideration. By way of background, Savers Value Village is publicly traded. We're a thrift retailer traded on the New York Stock Exchange. We are eager to open our first new store in New York City, but unfortunately the current secondhand dealer requirements prevent us from doing so. We have a really fun business model that we're proud of. We partner with nonprofit organizations across our 353 stores in the US, Canada, and Australia. We accept donations on behalf of our nonprofit partners. We pay them for those donations, and then we offer outstanding value to our customers. Over the last 5 years, we paid our nonprofit partners more than $490 million for secondhand donated items and diverted more than 3.2 billion pounds of reusable material from the waste stream. So we really would like to bring this business model to New York, but in particular, section 2273's detailed record keeping requirements are really just impossible for us to comply with. Our average store processes about 34,000 unique separate items per week, so that requirement would be impossible. We really appreciate that this legislation's stated intent is to exempt certain secondhand clothing merchants and others from the licensing requirements. However, we have submitted a proposed amendment that would broaden that to make sure that it captures a business like ours that is a for-profit registered commercial fundraiser and that primarily sells items that have been donated by the public to our nonprofit partners. And just the last point is we do
Thank
not
you. Your
pay
time has
individuals.
expired.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hello, Chair Menon and Chair Botcher. My name is and Chair Frias. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson, and I'm here virtually heading home. Got to walk home, get ready for later on today for the rally, and I'm here to support Eric Botcher's bill 1016, intro 1016, because this bill, I believe that it will mitigate a lot of school shootings, workplace shootings. It will scare a lot of people that are intending of doing harm to people in their homes, and their workplaces, in the schools, religious institutions, everywhere in America, in New York City, in New York State, away. Because what happens is people feel that if there's any place with no guns, people can do what they want to do. But like I said, this need to be in there. I support the bill 100%. I was there for the rally a few seconds. I got to go somewhere else. I'm getting ready for right today. But like I said, I support his intro, a resolution, an intro today, intro 1016, and I hope it goes through in the city council. Like I said, I support the mitigation of guns in New York City. I support it 100%, but it's in the city council to support it unanimously. And remember the people that didn't vote, that voted negative or stood out the bill. So like I said, support this 100%. Thank you, chairs, Botcher, Menon, and Farias for doing this committee today. And like I said, ban the guns, ban all guns in New York City, because if you ban the guns, a lot of stuff will happen. A lot of stuff won't be happening. So thank you so much and enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we have registered but not on Zoom, so I'm going to call their names in case they're here. Armando Rodriguez, Oresta Napper-Williams, Sean Higgin, Alex Stein. If you heard your name called and you're on Zoom, please identify yourself. Okay, seeing no one identifying themselves, if there's anyone here in this room that wishes to testify that didn't, if you could please see a sergeant at arms. All right, barring that, I'm now going to close the hearing. Thank you very much.